So I guess it must have been my father's intention to make me a cricketer.
I think you have a nickname as well, Mad Max and all of that.
We spent weekends playing cricket on the streets.
But you're not only a batsman, you're an all-round. How did that happen?
He told me, you got a roof over your head, so you don't have to worry. You just go do what you enjoy most. And that's exactly what I've done even up to date. I just tell myself, this is an opportunity.
My guest today requires no introduction. Aravinda De Silva. Welcome, Aravinda, to this program.
Thank you, Rohan.
Great to have you on board. So, the whole idea of a discussion or a talk with you would be to talk about cricket. But let me ask, who are you, Aravinda? Walk us through from your childhood to the point that you entered cricket. Go ahead.
Well, there's only one way I can explain myself as a little child. I was a little child who was very, very passionate about sport. And from a very, very young age, I remember when my father gave me a little plastic bat, and I got photographs where I've been using this plastic cricket bat even inside the court where I spent majority of my time as a 2-year-old. So I guess it must have been my father's intention to make me a cricketer and his ambition, which he wanted to probably live through his children, and maybe I was fortunate enough to be part of that.
Right. So that was from the cradle or the cot onwards, you had a plastic bat. So did your father ever play cricket at any level, or was it just one of, like all Sri Lankans, the cricket fans and cricket mad?
Well, he was not a cricketer, he was an athlete.
I see.
But I think even cricket was not a very popular game at the time. But what he encouraged me was from a very young age to do what I really enjoyed. And I remember at quite a young age, he used to take me to a club called the Airport Club, where they had lot of other sports.
So where was this?
In Ratmalana.
Oh, right. Yes. So you lived in Ratmalana.
So we were at Bambalapitiya, but I think at the age of about 6, we moved to Ratmalana. And then he used to take me to this club where they had all these sports like table tennis, billiards, snooker, tennis, badminton. So I guess from a very young age, I got entangled in sports, and most of my friends who lived around my place, we spent weekends playing cricket on the streets. Then we had a couple of grounds where we played soccer and tap rugger. So it was not just one sport, but it was a case of playing all kinds of sport.
So did you then, once you joined full-time education, did you sort of again get involved in school cricket as well, and where did you start that sort of school cricket?
That's a very interesting story, because I think I continued my sports career in school. I did a lot of athletics, then I played a lot of tennis. Actually, to be honest, tennis was my favorite sport, not cricket. But we played a lot of cricket on the weekends, and there was this gentleman whom my father knew, was a very close family friend of ours, called Mr. Abu Fuad, and he used to visit our house quite often. And he, at a very young age, I must have been 3 or 4 years old, and every time my father used to throw a plastic ball, the way I have hit the ball, he had said that this boy's hand-eye coordination is so good that you should encourage him to play cricket, because he was involved with cricket at the time.
That's
He was
Mr. Abu Fuad.
Mr. Abu Fuad. So what he really did was he used to bring me these cricket balls, which I think the national team used to use, and give me those as presents for Christmas and New Year.
Right. So we were not playing Test cricket at that time.
No, we were not.
First class cricket, international cricket.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we played. We used to play international cricket, but we haven't attained Test status at the time. So I think he used to visit us quite often, and like I said, the kind of encouragement he expressed to my father to make sure that he continues with supporting me to play cricket would have been a reason why he also would have thought, look, this boy must be having some capability. And then I continued playing, and I was fortunate enough to say that initially my father tried to get me into St. Thomas's, and maybe for my luck I got rejected. And then my father's student, Mr. R.I.T. Alice, had told him, look, I'm starting a school, and I started a school, and why don't you look at sending him to D.S. Seranayake.
That was a new school that was being started up. Yeah.
The school which started in 1967. And then when I joined that, I think I was very, very fortunate to have had a principal like Mr. R.I.T. Alice, who was like a second father to me. And his vision, I still remember. We had two of the best coaches in Sri Lanka at the time. The two coaches who were coaching the national team at the time, Mr. Van Silva and Mr. Charlie Varnakula Surya, who was involved with the national team.
So they were at DS Seranayake.
He brought them to DS Seranayake.
But they were also in the national team.
Yeah. So I think I was very, very fortunate to have had those coaches at our school, because what I learned maybe as a 9-year-old or an 8-year-old was exactly what was required at the international level, and that was one reason, I guess, why I matured that much quicker. And it was a case of me understanding and knowing at a very young age what is required at the highest level, and we were doing things what the national team was doing at a very young age. And then came Mr. P.W. Pereira, who was looking after the under-17 side and the under-19 side. So he actually was someone who came in and was a person who really felt that people with talent should be given the opportunity, whether he's 5 years old or the right age, without waiting for the right age. He said that at 12 years he wanted me to play under 17.
Right.
And so I think everyone was a bit worried, but ultimately they all decided if he's got the ability. My father was asked whether it's okay for him to play at a higher age group. My father said, look, that's not my decision, it's your decision. And so ultimately when they picked, I did perform.
So this was for DS Seranayake College?
That was for DS. And then I think the school cricket continued until I got to the under 19 level.
Right. So what was the transition like? I know you were with a plastic bat from the age of 2, but you were playing schoolboy cricket for DS Senanayake, and then what was the transition from school cricket to what I call first class cricket, perhaps test cricket or at the top level? I mean, how was it pressurizing? Was it a challenge for you? How did you change? How did you adapt to that change as well?
Well, I think there are quite a few incidents along the way. Nothing is a smooth ride to
Not a walk in the
top.
park.
Yeah. So you have your ups and downs, and then like anything in life, you need to have some luck. And my turning point was when one day there was a team which came from Australia called the Melbourne Cavaliers, and to play against them, the cricket board decided to pick an under-19 team. And when that under-19 team was picked, they picked 15 players, and I was not in that 15.
You were not in the 15, so that would have been a huge disappointment for you.
So so it was a disappointment, and then my father came to the NCC to pick me up, and then he asked me, so I told him, look, some bad news that I am not in the squad for this Melbourne Cavaliers game. So he said, well, that's fine. This is April holidays. You have you normally go to Nuwara with your friend Lakshman and his family. So now that you are not selected, you might as well go. But today we'll go and celebrate. Just because you got dropped is not the end of the world. Let's go. And he used to take me to this Fountain Cafe and Majestic City, Majestic Hotel
Bambalapitiya.
Because I used to love those faludas. So he said, let's go and have one of those and a hot dog from Fountain Cafe. And then that was my treat. And then we went home and called. We didn't have phones those days. So on the way at Vellavatta, we stopped at my friend's house and said that I would be joining them to go on holiday because I was not picked.
To go to Nuwara.
Lakshman was also very happy, and then his father said, "Well, very good. We'll come and pick you up in the morning." So then we went, because those days, unlike nowadays, it took about 7 hours to get to Nuwara. So we got up early in the morning and we drove in their car. And as soon as we went there, there was a message at that time to say that one of the players have got injured and sick, and that they had wanted me to come to be
down
be
to Colombo
squad. So then uncle said, look, so I said, now that we have come all this way, we might as well say that we are in Nuwara. Uncle said, no, these opportunities come only once in a lifetime. We have some dinner and we drive back. So they cancelled the entire holiday, and then we had some dinner and we drove back. So it was about 4:35 when we got to Colombo, and I slept in the car and then went straight to the match.
And how old were you at that time?
I think I was about 15.
Right. So,
and then 15, about 14 or 15. 14 or 15, I think. So then what happened was immediately after that we went for the match, and then in the morning this boy was also not fit and they wanted a middle order batsman, and so they didn't have a proper middle order batsman in the lineup. So they said that I will be playing in the match, and in that particular game we won the match and I became man of the match, and so that was the beginning. And then of course The team, Stewart was captained by Barney Reed, and Dev Watmore was one of the team members. So they also invited me to come and play some cricket in Australia.
So Dev Watmore came from the Australian side.
Yes,
I
he
see.
represented Melbourne Cavaliers
Of course, yeah. And where was this match played?
at the Oval.
At the Oval,
Yes,
Saravanamuthu Stadium.
Saravanamuthu Stadium.
Right, I see.
So that was the beginning, and then I got picked to go on the under-19 tour to England as the youngest. I was only 15 in 1981. So then came the most crucial part of my life. I finished my O-levels, and then I studied to finish my A-levels. Came 1983 December, I played against New Zealand, a one-day game at Moratuwa, and then came my A-levels, which I was to sit in 84. And just a couple of weeks, so I worked very hard to try and finish my education. And when we came to the exam, one week prior to the exam, I was called up to tour England with the national team in 1984. So then it was a big decision for me to make whether I'm going to go on the tour or continue my studies. So then so it was a bit of a dilemma, and then a lot of arguments at home, because my father was keen for me to do what I wanted to do, but my mother said no way.
Education.
Yeah. So then my father asked me, son, what do you want to do? Do you want to go on the tour or finish the exam? So obviously my choice was to go on the tour. I said, I'll go on the tour and make sure that I'll do the exam the following year. Once I come back, I'll concentrate 100%. Even with practices, I'll make sure I'll go for some extra classes and finish my studies. So then we went on the tour. It was a very successful one for me.
I want to come to that, the 1984 tour.
Yes.
So were we playing Test cricket at that time?
Yeah, so we played the first test at Lords. That was my first test. I got picked.
So that
Siddharth got 190 and Dulip got...
Siddharth Vethamuni.
Yeah,
Right.
Dulip got 200s on...
So tell us a bit, because it was 1984, Lords, the home of cricket in England, playing against England. This was the Sri Lanka team, a test match. Do you recall at what point you went to bat? Were you in the opening or one down, or how?
No. I batted at number 7.
So you went in at number 7?
Yeah, we had built up a huge score by that time.
Right.
And I got 19 in that, and that was my debut.
Yes.
And then in the second innings, I split my webbing on the field, and then I had to bat with a bandage and hit a couple of boundaries, and I got out. So
that
wasn't
was the
a memorable debut, but at Lords, of course. But it really didn't matter, because debut was big enough for me to,
of course,
be special. But only now, when I think that I made the debut at Lords, it seems very special.
Very.
But at that moment, any cricket ground was special for us, as long as it was a test match.
And what was the nerves like playing in an unusual country as far as the weather is concerned?
Those are things which we had to learn, because in England we went about 3 months ahead, and we played all the counties.
Warm-up
So
matches.
that is how our tours were set those days, because Sri Lanka was used for their county players to get more practice. And one test match, that is all we managed to get, because from 84 to maybe 89, 90, I probably would have played 5-6 test matches.
Sure.
Not very much, because they were very hard to come by, so we have to train for almost a year to play 1 or 2 test matches. So the following year, what happened was I came back, did my studies, and then I used to finish training, because we had training in the morning, 6 to 8 physical training, then we have breakfast, then we have a gym session, then we have a lunch break, and then we have skills training. So the free time was only after hours. So in the evening I used to go home, do a change, and at 7:30, 8 o'clock I used to go for some classes. We finish at 10:30, 11. And then I come back, then same routine. So like that I continued for another year until my exam came up. And then again 2 weeks prior I got picked to go to Australia. And so that really was the moment that I had to decide whether I'm going to continue my A-levels or whether I'm going to continue my sports. So it was a very tough decision, but I think
You made the
like
right
my
decision.
father, I don't know at that time whether I took the right decision. My father said, you just go on the tour. And I think he was brave enough to say that. He told me, you got a roof over your head, so you don't have to worry. You just go do what you enjoy most. And that's exactly what I've done even up to date in life.
So that's how the transition from schoolboy cricketer or cricket to first class cricket took place. Now, you are very well known the world over as a dashing batsman. I think you have a nickname as well, Mad Max and all of that. So everything, when you mention the name Aravinda De Silva, the dashing batsman is the one that comes to everybody's mind. But you're not only a batsman, you're an all-rounder. How did that happen? Or is it just that you are a 360-degree person with a special area in batting? I mean, walk us through, because normally an all-rounder is an all-rounder, sort of highlighting or distinguishing oneself in a particular department.
So as a young boy, when you play under 13, under 15, in Sri Lanka you play at 20 yards, and then once you go beyond 15 to 17 it becomes 22 yards. So initially they use a smaller ball, and then we play those days with 4 3/4 weight ball. We play on a 20 yard pitch. So at that age, with my sort of build, I used to bowl quick. I was a fast bowler. I bowl with the new ball, and somehow, I don't know, I always felt that I can do everything. So I bowl with the new ball. Then as soon as the ball becomes old, I start bowling spin. Then wherever I was asked to bat, I just go and bat. It's a case of enjoying and being part of doing whatever I did. So came to under 15, under 17. So my coaches told me, if you keep bowling fast, you will not be able to concentrate on your batting. So you just keep bowling spin and don't worry about fast bowling. So I used to bowl at practices and all. I used to bowl pace because I enjoy that, bouncing someone and having some fun, and then bowling a bit of spin, and that's how I just developed the art of bowling. And I used to enjoy trying out things. So it never restricted me to stick to one thing and continue. I always wanted to do different.
So the eye to hand or hand to eye coordination is really relevant in playing fast bowlers. Is that something that you had developed, or you had the natural knack?
Well, there
for
must
that?
have been so many things because I used to, with my cousin, I used to play with a plastic ball. He used to bowl at a very short distance. He used to bowl with that full pace, and I used to face it. So maybe your eye keeps getting used to that, and then it's something you train for. And those things would have happened naturally. It's unexpected.
So 1996, the World Cup, So you had your Test debut against England at Lord's 1984. Here we are in 1996. I think I'm going to read this because I need the statistics here. You took 3 wickets for 42 runs. So you were a bowler. You took 2 catches and then went on to score 107 runs not out, winning the World Cup, and you became the man of the match. Now, walk us through, perhaps just before the match and during the match, what went through the mindset of your good self as well as the whole team.
Yeah, well, I think going into this World Cup, we were quite, as a unit, we played a lot of cricket in Australia together, and then we came to Sri Lanka having a lot of confidence because I think we found a combination which really suited, and with a new brand of cricket which suited the conditions and the rules at the time. So when we landed in Colombo and then we started our campaign for the World Cup, I think what happened was we got a couple of walkovers because Australia and West Indies didn't turn up. So our qualification was quite easy. So we had a bit of an easy transition towards the first round. And then came the knockout stage. And I still remember telling Arjuna the kind of cricket we have been playing. If we get through this quarter-final, I'm sure we'll go on to win this tournament because the kind of cricket we were playing and also the confidence as a team, how much of confidence we had together as well as on each other. So ultimately, I think everyone says that we won the World Cup because of me, which I don't agree.
Well, I have to interrupt you. I just read the statistics, so they say a different story, right?
Yeah, but then
you're being modest.
No, but if you really look at it, see, everyone needs to play a part. I wouldn't have been able to score 100 without partnerships being built. And even earlier, there was some crucial innings. Sanath played a very, very crucial inning in the quarterfinal, which was very important. Roshan, again, built a partnership at a very crucial time and saw us through. Then Arjuna quite often played some very important innings. And of course, Sanath and Kalu have a badge, Asanka along the way. So I think then on the bowling side, Vasi and Murali contributed a lot. So as a team, we played so well, but at the same time, there were little contributions which made a huge difference. So if you take that semi-final, we got a 12th man who came onto the field when Vasi was off the field. Then the 2 best players in the England team was batting at the time, Graham Hick and Alex Stewart, who used to play spin so well, and they were the 2 best players they had. And then this guy comes onto the field for those 2 overs, and he was one of our best fielders. So at extra cover, he made 2 or 3 great stops, which actually put pressure on one of the players and got him to play a rash shot, and he got out. So that little bit of fielding, which made the difference in that particular moment, put that pressure, and that guy got out, and the score was a reasonable score which we were able to chase, which ultimately, when it came to chasing after Sanath getting off to such a good start, when the wicket crumbled against the spin, we really struggled the last spin. So if they had another 15-20 runs, it would have been a tricky game. And that was the knockout stage. So we saw through that. Then we got to the semis. Again, we lost 2 wickets. But then we got 241 again with a couple of partnerships down the order. Roshan, Arjuna, and then Vasi coming and hitting a few boundaries at the end. With Hashan, we got some runs. And then they were 80 for no wicket. Then suddenly Sachin flicked one and hit his pad, and Kalu was quick enough to get a stumping and got him got him out. So that really turned the match around, because that little moment which made the difference. And then there was a collapse we saw through, and then again in the finals, of course, we had to take the responsibility as senior players and put our hand up at a time when all these youngsters are under a lot of pressure. So actually one of my friends gave me a huge surprise. A very dear friend of mine called Ajit Dias. There was a charter flight from Sri Lanka, and we went in the night after the meeting. We went to the room to get some sleep. We had a team meeting and we went. Then this was in Lahore, and suddenly when I was just about getting to bed, someone came and knocked on the door. Then when I opened the door, it was my father and Mr. Alas.
Right.
And so Ajit Dias had bought 2 tickets for both of them, and got them on the charter flight, and brought them to give me a surprise. And they had no place to stay. They came and stayed in my room. I slept on the floor. Then in the morning, the boys were quite relaxed because they were out all shopping for carpets before the match. So they basically was not under a lot of pressure. They were relaxed. And when that sort of mindset is there, when you go into an important game, it becomes that much easier. And then of course we had a really good team working with us. Dev and Alex joined us in 1995 in Australia, which really changed our fortunes, because the kind of training we were doing was completely changed by Alex to be more organized physical training, which is more relevant to cricket. And Dev, of course, got hold of the youngsters, gave them the necessary confidence, leaving the seniors to do what they do best. But he took control of the youngsters and gave them the necessary confidence. And of course, Tulip, being our manager, was wonderful, because his sense of humor in the dressing room makes the whole dressing room a relaxed atmosphere. And Siddharth. So I think all that played a huge part.
All gelled in well.
Very well. And then,
each of you had a part to play, but as part of a larger team.
Exactly.
And the coordination was there.
Very well.
It's an immense thing to get that momentum right, I think. Yeah. It's like riding a bicycle. Don't ask me how you ride it, but you know how to ride it. But that comes... Right. So, and of course, the rest is history. And most of our viewers and cricket fans will know what happened after that. Of course, everything was, Sri Lanka was on a very high in the international field. All our players were well recognized and so on. And then coming back to you, you have faced many fast bowlers of international caliber. Imran Khan, Wasim Akram, Waqar Yunis, and of course the famous spinner Abdul Qadir. And you have scored centuries against them. But these are people, I haven't even named any West Indian player and so on yet. What was it like facing Imran Khan running in towards you, a huge guy with a long shoulder of hair basically, at the fastest possible speed? How did you feel about playing these people?
Well,
Wasim Akram?
I always took those challenges. I enjoyed the challenge and pressure situations. I think that was the key, because every time someone said that it's going to be tough, I just tell myself, this is an opportunity for me to show what my strengths are. And I remember that Pakistan Test match, when we went to Faisalabad, everyone saw the wicket and there was so much of grass, and told Dulip, somehow make sure you win the toss and put them in, otherwise we are in trouble. So he went and put the toss, lost the toss. Imran called it right, and then Sri put us into bat. Dulip held his head and said, we are batting. And all the guys in the dressing room just
head down.
Head down, and then we went into bat. and I usually sit next to uh, Dulip on one side and Roy on the other. Roy never watches the match. He sits facing all of us, and then he will have a smoke to get his pressure off. And I sit there with next to Dulip because Dulip will always make us laugh. There's no pressure whatsoever. So Imran started bowling, and they had Wasim Akram, Imran, Zakir Khan, Moshin Kamal, Abdul Qadir, and Tausif. One of the best attacks I've ever come across. So the Imran came the first ball and he let one go. It flew past a couple of bounces, went for 4 byes. So Dulip tapped on my head and said, we've got 3 days of shopping. So he felt that we were going to, they were going to finish the match in. But ultimately we ended up making 493 for 7 declared. I got my first test 100 there. Ravi opened the batting and got a 70 or a 90. I don't remember Ramesh Ratnaik to being a tail ender got a 50 odd not out. And but of course, like Dulip said, we got 493 for 7 declared, and Pakistan got 700 odd for 2 wickets, and we won the field for 3 days running behind balls. So but I think the mindset which we had at the time was to try and save a match, not going there with a mindset of winning or saying that we are going to win, that sort of self-belief. But I think gradually must give the credit to Arjuna. I think Arjuna changed that mindset. As a captain, he always took the opposition on. And we became a different sort of side mentally every time we approached any opposition. We felt that we were going to be able to beat them rather than
So the
saying,
challenge was not a problem, but it was looked at positively.
Yeah.
So from a cricketing standpoint, Aravind, in your mind, who are the heroes of cricket that you look up to?
well, my idol was Viv Richards,
Yes.
without a doubt. So he's someone who I always wanted to emulate, and he was my idol. And of course, along the way, Imran Khan as a leader, then Richard Hatley as an all-rounder, disciplined all-rounder, then Gavaskar for technique. So I used to talk to all these guys and learn, because we didn't have people who had reached those levels to tell us what needs to be done. But every opportunity we got, we used to talk to them and absorb whatever we could out of them, and they've been great ambassadors for the game and helped our nation by giving us a lot of knowledge whenever we played against them. Alan Border, another person.
So many to mention, and So Viv Richards was your idol, and I guess he's still there at the very top.
He is, and I was very, very fortunate the day I was inducted to Hall of Fame.
Yes.
You won't believe that he was at my table, and so when I had to talk, say a few words after being inducted into Hall of Fame, I had to tell him, so tears came into my eyes to say that my idol, my childhood idol is
there
at my table, and it's a moment, very special moment to share it with him. And
so I'd like a little bit more about the ICC Hall of Fame, because we have a few Sri Lankans, Kumar Sangakkara, Muthaya Muralidharan,
And
Mahela Jayawardene, and of course yourself, Aravinda De Silva. So walk us through very quickly what it was like when you were inducted. How does that work there?
well, I don't know how it works, but only thing I know is it's just another thing, and for me, it is more to share with the people who actually helped me to get there. So I really dedicate that to my parents, my coaches, my fans, and my teammates. Of course, the opposition as well, who actually gave me the opportunity to do whatever I did on the field. The opposition created the competitiveness for me to really go out there and make myself better all the time. And then, of course, the support I got from all these people, my fans, incredible support, my parents, and the family has been amazing. My coaches, teachers along the way, and last not but least, my teammates. They've been like family right through.
Incredible journey from the age of 2 with a plastic cricket back to where you are. Now, after cricket, how's life been?
Life's been very good. I can't grumble. I think most of what I have learned, I always say what I have learned on a cricket field is far more greater than what I have learned in a classroom. And I keep telling my wife also that children need to go out there and play rather than stay in a room and study, because you learn so much more and then you make so many friends. And cricket has given me that opportunity to meet people, create opportunities for my future, and God willing, I've had a fairly comfortable journey all this time, and my intention is to play my next inning of trying to help the society and to make sure that I give something back to the country and to the society.
Excellent. On that high note, Aravinda, let's conclude this program. It's been a wonderful conversation that we have had. Our viewers and listeners have, I'm sure they will really appreciate what we spoke about, discussed, and so on. Life is a journey. You have had an incredible journey so far. May I wish you the very best in all you do and all your endeavors. Thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure.
Thank you.